Here goes nothing.
Tanner. Hello, this is Tanner Tech.
This is my current bike. It could definitely use some upgrades. First of all, it's got one brake, not the other. So let's fix that. Ah, there we go. Much safer. This is a really fast bike, don't get me wrong, and it gets me all around Boston. But it could be faster. Maybe we should put a motor on it. In order to do that, we need to take off the wheel. .3D printing makes things so much easier. This sprocket did not fit on this wheel before, and after this 3D printed bit, fits like a charm. Nice. Tightening this sprocket with my new lock ring removal wrench is so much easier than any old type of wrench. Time to install that motor. To do that, I'm just going to take apart the wheel and bolt the motor on. Well, it took a kind of special mount to make it work, a little piece of aluminum, but the wheel works great. The chain is aligned perfectly. A thumb throttle might be a welcome addition to this design. Kind of hard to ride a bike if you can't control its speed, right? Although this does need to be bolted down a little bit better. A cheap motor controller might be helpful as well. This one, I think, just is a PWM DC motor controller. Perfect. Also got my XT90 battery connector here. These two lithium batteries should do well to power this thing. It's about 9,000 milliamp hours of battery at around 22.2 volts on average. You can go as high as 25 volts. Well, that works. So this is how fast the e-bike goes when it's running around 22 volts with the smaller batteries inside it. Well, that was kind of slow. Those batteries didn't really make this bike go too fast. Let's see if we can boost that by putting in a bigger, stronger, more powerful battery. Let's build one. These are modem cells. I'm not sure what these mean. They've got 4 18650 cells inside, and they should all be pretty good. I got this from Battery Hookup. So we've got to crack each of these open and extract the 18650 cells. I now have all the batteries grouped somewhat by brand and also by their current voltage. When you are putting batteries in parallel, you want to make sure that they all have the same voltage. Otherwise, when you connect them in parallel, there's going to be a lot of current that flows that's not good. A less than typical way is being used to bring these two batteries up to 3.7 volts to match the voltage of some other batteries I'm going to put them in parallel with. There were a few batteries that were bad. These Samsung cells are down to 1.35 volts. Absolute garbage. For the most part, the batteries were good, and I have a nice battery pack. 70 cells. It's a 36 volt battery pack, so at its fully charged voltage, it's 42 volts with a whopping 14 amp hours. This is the battery pack. It looks really good. It took me quite a while to do all these spot welds. So now it's time to add the BMS, or battery management system, and the cables that will connect this battery to the rest of the e-bike. Wow, this thing is almost done. I've got my nice handy charging port here to charge up the battery, as well as the BMS that connects to all the cells to this rat's nest of wires. That basically allows it to balance each of the chunks of cells in parallel, so they can all be at the right voltage. It saves your battery pack. It's also overcurrent protected right here. So if I decide to pull a little bit too much current, it'll save me. This battery is not charging properly. I plugged it in, and it started charging for a bit, then stopped. Now reading the voltages on the cells kind of tells me why. One of the cells reached 4.2 volts, and it cut off charging for everything else. So obviously this thing isn't balanced charging as it should. Usually it should charge until all the cells get to around 4.2 volts, not just when one of them. Aha! There lies the answer to my question. It looks like they just decided to not put the SMD components on the bottom that are required for balance charging. So this has no capability of balance charging. Why did they do that? Literally, there's like 15, 20 more components you need to add, and this thing will work properly. Goodness, that's cheap. I just got this new BMS and it looks way better. It actually has the balance components on the back. It's also got a handy temperature sensor. Let's see what it looks like underneath the heatsink. Looks like we got 4 MOSFETs to shut off the power if too much current is drawn. Nice big current sensing resistor. And a chip, it looks like the PT6010 BMS module, which I looked at the data sheet, and this looks pretty legit. Thank goodness for Google Translate being able to help me out reading this data sheet. I think this will work. Wow, this thing looks really good. I didn't have any thick wires, so I just had to braid some thinner wires together to carry a little bit more current. This new battery is definitely not going to fit in this old bag. So, well, I bought a bigger one. It's literally the exact same bag, but bigger. Only like $15 on Amazon. Totally worth it. Here goes nothing. I was in the middle of riding to Boston, and that happened. That motor is not going anywhere. The freewheel is destroyed. Well, that's fun.